Hi, it's John from the Gloucester Library, and for today's let's draw some hats to go along with this morning's story, Hooray for a Hat, that Miss Miller read. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so to start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a head shape, and it's going to serve as like a mannequin head for putting all my hats on. So you can see what the hats look like. Move it down there, give us some room. Alright, and I'm doing this, so you only have to draw one hat, but I'm going to show you a bunch of different hats that you can use for your character. So I'm going to use on mine a new layer, since I can do that on a tablet or a computer. So every time I draw a new one, I'll hide the last one I did so that it doesn't get in the way. And of course, you can draw all the hats that you want too. If you want to try drawing all these different ones, that's great too. But you might have to pick different pieces of spots on your paper to do it in is all. Alright, so to get started, I'm going to start with like a typical baseball cap. And those ones kind of just kind of like come up. I have like a little point here, just a little one, and then wrap around the back of the head, and they'll usually come up like that. And that little point that I was talking about is usually where you'll see like a little line from where like the material's been bent, and like a little line right here for where the there's a lot of times like a front part that's a different thickness of material or a different color, where they'll put like the logo of a sports team on or something like that. And then you have like the bill of the hat, and that comes out from the sides and follows like where the that line is there for the front, that part that's a lot of times a different material. Sometimes it's all the same. And then it kind of curves usually up. People will usually curve it a little bit, and like that. And I'm gonna go in here and kind of color in, just so the lines of the head don't get in the way. You can see what it looks like if it was just fitting on the person's head. Oh, I wonder why it's not going through there. Oh, I see. I need to erase it on that part. There we go. And you can see how it fits on the head. And baseball caps are pretty fun, but that bill can be challenging, so take your time. If you don't get a curve in it, if it kind of just comes straight out and then does a curve, that's fine too. The curve usually happens purposely, because people usually bend the bill of the hat so that it makes that curve. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is clear this and hide that one, make a new layer. Alright, now this one, I'm going to do a fedora. This is a popular hat, I believe, in like the maybe 30s and 40s, and still today. So it'll have a line for the brim, I think brim or rim, I'm going to say rim, of the hat that goes, oops, gotta choose black again. Goes like this, and it goes past, because this part sticks out from the head a little bit, and then goes behind the head, like that. And you can maybe do like a little line like this to show how it wraps around. And then it comes up and back a little. And this part's more straight. The back side's a little bit more straight. And then a little curve for the top. And a lot of times they'll have a band in the middle too. like a different, like a cloth band that's been wrapped around it. So you can draw that in the center, or maybe a little bit closer towards the bottom. And then I'll go in, let me put some line in here so we cover up our head. So if you're using like a pencil, you can just like erase the top of your head, or if you don't want to or aren't able to do that, try to see if you can draw your person's head and just leave the top of it blank, so you can put your hat on there. Leave yourself enough space. Then you can always go back in and like cover it up with hair or things like that. So that's how a fedora looks. All right, and let me clear that. We'll hide our fedora, and let's do the next one. This one is called a Newsboy, and that one's kind of saggy in the front. So that one kind of looks like it's sagging over top of the head. See, like that? See how it kind of like has a little pouch or sagginess there? And then there's a little bill that comes off right there and right here. And then go ahead and make those ends meet. Kind of like a mini version of what was on our baseball cap. And a lot of times there'll be a little spot right there, a little button in the center, and some lines, usually 4 of them. One goes down towards the middle, the side, another side, and then down towards the back. Let me go in and color so we get rid of the lines of the head so you can see those lines a little better. There we go. And that'd be a Newsboy hat. It used to be there would be people in the cities that would sell newspapers, usually little boys, and this was a popular hat for them. All right, let's try the next one. All right, so the next one is going to be a lady's hat, and it's called a cocktail hat. And I'm going to start by drawing like a bow on the front. So I'm going to draw a bow, kind of comes out to a point, and then the middle where the knot is, and then the other side that kind of comes out to a point. Almost looks like ears. And you can do like some curved lines like this inside to show where the cloth is kind of being pulled into the knot. And then for the hat part, it just wraps around the head pretty closely. It comes up here, and I'll curve across, and then back down. And you can probably put some wrinkles in here too, just to show that it's more of a giving material rather than a rigid material. And let me erase not erase, but get rid of the line for the head there, just so you can see. There we go. And that'll be our cocktail hat. All right, let's do the next one. For our next one, I'm going to do a hat called Homburg. A Homburg hat has a rim that comes out, curves behind, similar to the fedora, except with this one it has a instead of having a top that is like more curved, it has a very pronounced part that comes in the center. So to do that, I'll do like a line in the middle that curves up and then comes down behind the head for that side, and then another line that meets it but starts like a bit further up here and then curves down to the front. So you can see where it's kind of got an indentation right there. And a lot like the fedora, it was common to have a band on the bottom of those as well. And of course you can do maybe a couple lines here just to show, you know, the rim or brim of the hat wrapping around the head. And let me get rid of the line of the head just so you can see it better. There we go. Alright, so that's a Homburg. And let's see, for our next hat, let's do a hat that famous, in the storybooks, a famous detective, Sherlock Holmes, would wear. It's actually called the Deerstalker. And that one kind of wraps around the head a little bit here, about that far up, and then comes up a bit over the head. Actually, let's try to make that a little bit more rounded. There we go. And it has a bill that comes out the front, and it's pretty just curved. It doesn't curve in the middle like the other ones. And then a little bill that comes out the back. You can draw like lines like where the stitches would go on the insides, just like that if you want. And then it usually has a little string tied here at the top, because you could tie up these parts, the bills, and then little lines for where the seams are coming down. And let me color in the lines of the head there so you can't see them. You can see just the hat and how it would look on the head, like that. Alright, so that would be a Deerstalker. That's a crazy name. Alright, for the next hat, I'm going to do a beret. And this one was popular for boys and girls. And this one kind of curves a little bit there. That's about where it fits on the head. And comes out and fits close to the top of the head and back down, just like that. And then it usually has like a little line here, just to show where the material comes out and then back in. And then a little bit there on top. And then let me get rid of the line of the head so you can see how it looks. There we go. So that's how a beret would typically look. And you could probably draw this like a little bit higher even, to where it fits on the head a little bit better than mine. Alright, for the next one, I'm going to do a hat called the Trapper. And this one they usually wear when it's really cold. So it has parts that would go over the ear and keep your ears warm, and maybe even wrap underneath your chin there, across your face a little bit to keep you warm. And it has a part that comes down just like this. It's really big, behind the head and up. And then a part that folds up right there, rectangle shape. And then another part for the other ear that comes over on that side. And then a little spot here, another little pad, and have it come all the way up over the head. A little line for a seam here. And you can draw little lines that wrap around the fronts of these parts here that go over the ears, just to show where there's a more comfy cottony material. Like this part, and the insides of these will be like usually like a lighter, fluffier, warm material, and the outside would be more standard cloth. Here, let me get rid of the lines of the head again so you can see what it looks like when it's on there. All right. there we go. That would be a trapper hat. All right. Let's see. Let me clear. Do a new one. All right. Let's do a fascinator hat. And a fascinator hat, this I think it's usually ones that have like some flair to them. So like for this one, it looks like kind of a top hat. So I'll have that line of the brim go like this. And then we're going to draw, like, say, like a couple flowers here. Just some hints of a flower shape like that. Just a couple. And then have, like, say, a bit of like scarf material, like coming out the top there from where it's been tied around the hat. Let's draw the bottom of the hat here where it meets the head, and have that come up, and then come up. Curved part for the top, and then we'll draw like the other line for that scarf that's wrapped around. And then say like have our lines come up for the bottom of the hat. And then you could have like some scarf like kind of coming out the bottom too. And let's go in and erase here, get rid of the lines here so you can see without the headline going through it all. There we go. This would be like a fascinator hat, kind of like a highly decorated top hat. Alright. Let's see, let's just do a few more. Like, let's do a basic beanie. A beanie hat's kind of like a one that's close fitting to your head. Sometimes it's just a part that fits just on the top. Sometimes you have the bottom that you can roll up a bit. I'm going to do the one that has a bit of a roll up part. So draw like a line where it fits above the eyes, and it can go past the head just a little bit. And then another line just a little bit further up. And then we're going to draw a line to connect them. And this is the part that's rolled up. And then a part that fits on top of the head. And these ones, they're usually like with the winter hats, you'll see how like the way that they're stitched, they kind of have little lines that go down them. The lines, you don't need the lines. I'm just doing that because that's always how they look to me. And let's go in and get rid of the lines of the head, just so you can see what it looks like normal. There we go. That'd be a typical beanie. Alright. Now let's do a cloche, I think is how it's pronounced. That would look to be like a popular hat for ladies in like the 20s, I believe. And it'll kind of have a line of the bottom goes like that, extends just a little bit past the head. Then it kind of curves in towards the head, and then up, and then rounded on top. And this part a lot of times will have like a bow and have it wrapped around. So let me do like a bow and have that kind of wrapped around here. There we go. Alright, let me get rid of the lines here so you can see. Alright, so cloche. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And let's see. Now, let's do one more ladies' hat. It's called a pillbox. And that one will a lot of times have the bow kind of in the front. And it's very simple. It just curves a little bit there at the bottom for the head, comes up, curves, then back down, and then a couple little lines there to show the bottom, and then where it has a very flat top to it. And get rid of this line so you can see it better. Alright, and that is a pillbox. Alright, let's see. Alright, I'm going to do two more hats. I'm going to do another one's fairly popular still today. I see a lot. It's called the bucket hat. And there's some variations of it, but the common one I see has a line right here where it fits on the head, and then it comes up straight, curve for the top, curved line inside to show how it's kind of flat like a bucket upside down on your head, and then the brim comes out, and then a curve there to follow it. You can draw like another line here just to show like the seam in it. Let's get rid of the line here on the head so you can see what it looks like by itself. There we go. That's a bucket hat. Kind of popular. I remember a lot of fishermen would wear those hats and put all their little hooks and lures in it, so they can just take their hat off and get access to them real quick. Alright. And my last one is a cowboy hat. Now a cowboy hat, a lot of times it has a very big brim, and a lot of times the sides are bent up. So let's draw the line for that first, for the bottom where it goes across the head here. I'm going to curve like that, and then do like a little line for the edge of it as best you can. And once you get to this side of the head, take that line and curve it up, and you can kind of have it follow like that. And then before doing the same with this one, let's draw the middle of the hat. So that would come up a little bit. So you have your part that sticks out here, the brim, and then it comes up and comes up, and then you have the indentation here in the middle, kind of like we had on that Homburg hat earlier. Just have a curve, indentation here and up, and then a little bit above here, indentation and up. And then now you can take this one and curve it like you did this one. Just have it come around and down, just like that. And let's get rid of the lines on the head. Alright, there we go. There's your cowboy hat. And of course you can make the these bigger, smaller, depending. You know, the cowboy hats, like they'll typically bend them up like that though. Alright, I hope you enjoyed today's Let's Draw, and I hope to see you next time.